the engine. Well, this car and I are friends. We are
Really?
instant friends.
Okay, why?
Because it smells exactly like the other two Accords that I had early in life.
Scent memory is a strong thing,
It's the
isn't
weirdest.
it?
I had the 86 DX
okay.
manual, and then I had the 92 Accord EX manual.
Okay.
It's almost like a mildewy carpet smell.
Okay, well, hey.
It's a friendly smell. It's like, I'm in a Honda.
It means that Honda has kept the same suppliers
Yes.
from way back when at
Yes.
peak Honda in the 90s all the way to now with the current Accord.
It's not an unpleasant smell.
I get you.
It's friendly. It's just the way things smell. It's just the interior, and I got in. I
This is
went.
how a Honda Accord smells. Yes,
We're
I get
friends.
that.
I like you a lot already.
Okay.
There's a lot to like. The 2023 Accord Hybrid Touring.
Yes.
It's the top end.
It is the very top.
It's almost $39,000 all in.
Mm-hmm.
But with this car, you get a hybrid system. We like hybrid systems a lot.
We do, yes.
This is Honda really doing their thing again. Honda has been really doing well on all of their vehicles.
Yes.
They have put the past behind them, clearly. The 5th generation CR-V is in the past.
Paul was not a fan. The refresh of almost all Honda vehicles has brought Paul, the classic Honda fan, back into the fold in a big way. We've liked almost all of the refreshes. We've liked almost all of the new versions of Hondas. We're huge fans of the Civic.
Yes.
We're huge fans of the new CR-V.
It's excellent.
We like the HR-V, which is kind of the small, like,
yeah,
a little underpowered, but still pretty cool. Here is this new Accord, and I have to say, I was surprised by it.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
I think I know why I was impressed. Because nobody bothers to make good sedans anymore. We've just forgotten about sedans. We're concentrating on CUVs so much that if a sedan shows up, it's either not well done or doesn't work as a four-door sedan. I'm looking at you, Acura TLX, which is phenomenal to drive and great to look at.
By the way.
But doesn't work as a big four-door sedan. The Civic has more space than it does, and I got into this a little worried, and this has a cavernous back seat.
It's great.
Like executive class sedan quality back seats as far as space in something technically listed as a mid-size. There's nothing mid-size about this. This is a huge sedan.
It's a huge sedan, but it doesn't really drive like a huge sedan.
Agreed.
Which is very Accord-like in its thinking. And you might think, compared to Hyundai's style, that it has to be this crazy shape and crazy looking thing to stand out and make sales in the market. Honda is proving everybody wrong because they are back to their best. They're back on top of their game by building the Accord that is stylish, has a lot of space, is pretty decent value, and from a stylistic standpoint, inside and outside, is just pleasing to look at. You get in, you think, oh, there's the materials. This just feels good. It feels like what I love Honda to be.
Interesting, okay.
I love Hondas. Again, we love the Civic Type R.
We liked the current Civic so much that I worried I wouldn't like the Accord because the Accord wouldn't feel like a step up, and it does.
Standouts to begin with: 204 horsepower out of this hybrid system, 247 pound-feet of torque. It's 2 electric motors. The engine turns 1 electric motor to make power, and then the other electric motor puts power to the ground, except above 20 miles an hour, which then the gasoline engine kicks back in to give you an estimated combined range of 44 mpg. I have never seen below 40 in any time I've been driving it, and we've been driving it hard.
We have been driving it hard.
That's
superb. It does get in the 40s.
Big sedan in the 40s, genuinely in the 40s.
3,500-pound large sedan. I really can't overstate the great use of space here, which Honda has a history of being good at. But this has a phenomenal amount of space. It feels significantly larger than the current Civic, which is a very large-scale car in spite of its packaging. So this has great space. And the thing I'm so impressed by with this hybrid system is that it is all of the above. It is a series hybrid and a parallel hybrid.
True.
It will do whatever it needs to get power to the ground and get you efficiency. And you're right, it comes back with just over 40 miles of the gallon.
Amazing. You think those numbers might sound low, but wait till you drive it. Because I was coming up Interstate 80 out of Salt Lake, going eastbound, and a WRX owner found himself chasing me in an Accord, probably scratching his head like, why?
What's going on there?
Why is this Accord touring? What is this that I'm having trouble keeping up with? Because I could just put the power down and keep it steady and consistent. And this thing moves, and I'm getting great gas mileage. And it's interesting to drive. Multi-link rear suspension, McPherson struts in the front, but it has a bit of a hydraulic feel to it. A little bit. It's not, but it has a bit of a thicker, less assisted kind of feel to it. The weight is there, but it's not an artificial feeling.
Agreed.
Honda has overcome that. I mean, they did the EPS way back in the S2000 days.
Yes, you're right.
It's not like they don't know what they're doing, and it seems like Honda has remembered all of their goodness that they've had in their history and put that in every single one of their vehicles.
You and I are both coming to similar thoughts on Honda as a company. And look, a lot of these car companies go through cycles. They've all been around so long now that they go through good and bad cycles.
They do.
Or I'd put it another way. I would say good cycles and cycles where things are fine. A lot of car companies do that. And I feel like peak Honda was the 90s into the very early 2000s. We're 20 years on from that now, but I feel like the cycle's come back.
It's come all the way around, hasn't it?
Now we are having a resurgence of Honda where pretty much anything I get in that's a Honda product, I go, yeah, this is really good. And this is adding to the pile in a great way.
It's great. Okay, so there's different modes, 4 different modes, and I'm in Sport now. But what you always want to remember to do is use these paddles. There's 6 different levels of regen. 6. And it, just like the Civic, it gives you a little icon on the dash of the brake lights of the car. So you know when you're pulling the paddle at what level of regen assist it's illuminating the brake lights. So with the right paddle, you kind of take it, you remove the regen assist. But then on the left here, you're always seeing your battery level. And the brakes give a good balance between feeling like actual real brakes and doing the regen thing. They don't feel so artificial anymore. It's like Honda knows how to make a good driving car, the feel to it. But they're adding their technology and they're going slow. They're not jumping off a cliff. They're not going crazy. They're just taking their time and seeing what everybody else is doing. And I feel like they're thinking, okay, so what is very Honda feeling about that? I can identify it. It has a light and friendly feel, fairly direct, good weight to it, but it's not a sports car. It's not trying to be a sports car. But then great value for money. You think, I don't need a sedan. Sedans don't get very good gas mileage and they don't have enough space. The new Accord wipes that all away.
I'm actually struggling to think of a 5-seat CUV that is going to give you better gas mileage, more space, and more storage than this does. They exist, but they're few and far between.
And it won't drive better.
Most of them don't.
We've knocked Honda before for engine noise under hard acceleration.
True.
Yes, it's still there, but it's not so prevalent as it was before. Under hard acceleration, you'll get that, but the electric motors kick in to give you the torque so you can get away from it sooner, which is great. When there is a standout in any category, we love identifying that. We love calling it out when it is actually really good. No, Honda did not pay us to say any of this. We would cash that check.
I would cash it and then still say stuff that was bad. That's how I work. I am not coin operated. I am coin accepting, but I am not coin operated. You can pay me and I'll still say whatever.
All right. I'm going to turn around so you can drive this. But first, a note about the styling here. This is very Audi A7-esque. Would you not agree?
I would, except
that slope, fastback, hatchback kind of thing.
I think this looks really interesting and great from the C pillars forward, maybe B pillars forward, and I think the back from some angles just looks awkward. I agree that they've gone the Audi A7 route, but I don't feel like this is 360 as attractive as it could be. I'm being picky because I also don't think it's unattractive. I just think from some angles, it's just kind of like, that's not a great angle on the car.
Sure. I mean, nobody's ever bought Accords because it's like the stylistic standout, but you walk around it and you're right, there's not offensive anything, but it goes a step further than that. There's some crisp lines. There's a nice crisp theme down the shoulder that begins and terminates. It gives a nice highlight. The proportions are good. I do like that fastback kind of shape. I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, it's good.
Gives a lot of space in the rear. I mean, the rear seat headroom is still not great for us, but
we're trees.
We always take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you cannot gauge rear seat headroom based on us. Now, legroom is unacceptable. You crowd legroom, and that's just fully unacceptable.
This is amazing.
It's almost 41 inches of rear legroom, and I challenge you to look up stats. That is legitimately, that is as much as the Volkswagen Phaeton that I had, and it is legitimately the range that you get when you buy executive class sedans. That is a ton of rear legroom.
I love that everything gets compared to Phaetons. I love that was a benchmark.
That's a benchmark sedan. It's a ridiculous ridiculous. It's an utterly ridiculous sedan, but it is still a benchmark sedan.
Look, crisp themes in the headlights. It's no longer like the Lone Ranger put on the mask.
You really didn't like that era.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I know. You were not a fan.
Design team went, hey, that's a theme. Let's do more of that.
Masks!
Mask! And Acura went through its rhinoplasty phase.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Where that's all behind us. This looks good. It looks, get this, here's a compliment. It looks like what Mazda does to make the cars look and feel more expensive than they are. It looks classier and more expensive than it actually is. And this is the fully loaded top end. You can get the lesser horsepower with the 1.5 turbo and the CVT. And yes, the manual transmission went away, but again, if you want a manual, get one of Honda's great cars like the Civic Type R or the SI. Get an SI.
The SI. Yes, be very happy.
You don't need it in the Accord. So you're going to be very, very happy with when you get the Touring. But you also will ask, what do you get? And that is Google Assist, Google Maps, and Google Play embedded. And you get heated rear seats back here, and you get this brilliant hybrid system. That is the difference, and that is worth the money.
Yeah, the upper trims have that hybrid, and it is worth getting Sport and above to get this 2-liter hybrid system. I have much more to say about it there, but you know one thing I want to say while I'm still sitting here about the interior, and that is I really do love this mesh thing that they have carried over from the Civic, and they have these, it's the same HVAC system, which we really like in the Civic, which has a wonderful little click to it, very tactile, and feels really wonderful to work with the HVAC system. Also, the upper level trims get this 12.3-inch screen. You get a smaller screen on the lower trims, but all of the trims pointed out in the press materials, notice there is a touch screen and a volume knob. The volume knob is an island. It's just sitting there. It practically has a spotlight on it from above.
It should do a little LED spotlight.
Yes, because they are so excited and they really want to share that they have a volume knob, which I am appreciating Honda for. Here's my only slight, actually. My only slight on having a volume knob, because I love having one. I'm surprised it's not on the passenger side. Because the driver also has, of course, stuff on the steering wheel, which are actual buttons on the steering wheel. But thank you, Honda, for putting a volume knob, which also is the power button. So you can actually just punch it and everything goes quiet.
It's easy. It's right there.
This is how humans work, and that's why that works. Okay, and I'm so excited that Honda not only did it, but they also called themselves out. We're like, we need a volume knob.
A little light.
But look at how look at how clean this is. It's just touchscreen, and if you want to know, that is how loud it is, or if you want to turn it off. That is fantastic, so thank you for that. Since they called it out, I wanted to call it out.
It's a touch small. It's a bit like using your watch crown to like adjust the volume.
It's slightly larger
I want the volume knob to be a little bit higher.
Slightly smaller.
No, that's too loud.
Yeah.
It's a little bit small.
It is little, but it doesn't matter. It's fully
it's
tactile,
there,
and it works.
We'll take it.
The only slide I have, though, for the press material commentary of the interior, which is actually very nice, is they talked about how luxurious and exquisite and expensive it is to have piano black. And I thought, no, sir. No, sir.
Oh, it's already scratched over here.
Yes, it gets smudgy. Piano black needs to die.
It needs to die.
It's just, it doesn't
Kill
help
it with
anything
fire.
look better. But, I mean, I'm not slighting Honda. This is an industry-wide plague.
Yes.
But piano black does not make the upper-level trim be the upper-level trim because it just makes it look smudgy. But also, they did buttons on the steering wheel.
Buttons on the steering wheel.
I'm so excited about buttons and not tactile, haptic stuff.
It's a clean layout, and everything about this car, I mean everything, is like you're using your iPhone. You wonder, like, how do I do that? Oh.
Yeah.
How do I make that? Oh, that's how.
Yeah.
Everything about it. How do I put it? Where's sport? Okay. How do I adjust it? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, this is easy. Oh, the vents, and they're easy to use, and they're large enough, and you can actually grip them, and it's just clean and easy. This is going to look great for a long time.
It is going to age very well.
Tech embedded. It's not so overdone. It's not hyped. It's just clean. This is classic Honda at their finest.
Yep.
They are absolutely back. You have to sit here and drive it.
I'm excited to drive it. I really am.
Kind of makes me want to buy my third Accord.
Kind of. Wow, impressive. Okay, I'm going to say something else that that we've said before sometime in hybrid vehicles, and I do find it interesting when this fact reveals itself, and that is this is one of those vehicles offered in non-hybrid and hybrid trim. And having driven the hybrid version, don't know why it's offered another way.
I agree.
1.5 liter turbo with a CVT. You want none of that. You want none of that.
Do not have that
That's
recipe.
just, it's not even worth entertaining.
Totally.
And the other thing I think is fascinating is, as I was looking at everything this does, when you mention hybrid, you hear Prius. It is the benchmark sedan for hybrids.
Yeah.
And then I came to this realization. Now, keep in mind, the Prius is smaller than this. The Prius is not designed to be a midsize. We're a big fan of the current Prius. We even have one as a long-term car. There's a lot of things about the Prius that we like. So I'm not slighting the Prius, believe it or not. However, here is something I was very surprised by. This is the loaded, you cannot get more Honda Accord than this.
Right.
And it's 38 grand.
Right.
Which is within a couple $1,000s of however you're going to spec your Prius. This is a lot more car
this
than
is a
the
lot
Prius.
More car, yeah. Go to autotempest.com/everyday so they know that we sent you, and you can start immediately shopping for the new Honda Accord Hybrid Touring. You can even look at dealer inventory to figure out what's possible. Make sure to go to autotempest.com/everyday, start shopping for Accords. I'm impressed with everything in Honda's lineup. You need to reconsider Honda once again. It's enjoyable to drive.
Yes.
The seat frames are new. Apparently this is called body contour.
These seats are good.
They're good. They're good.
It's one of those things where I just started driving the car as we do. We drive different things every week. I just started driving the car, was doing stuff, I do errands, and that's what I try to do. I try to do normal things in a different car,
with the car, yeah.
because that makes stuff reveal itself. And I must have been driving the car for 15 minutes and suddenly I went, these seats are great. I hadn't thought about it. I didn't think of it when I sat down. I suddenly was like, these are really comfortable. They're really nice. And they hold you just enough. That's the thing. A lot of times you get a seat that's comfortable but doesn't hold you at all. And so it's like I'm sitting on a couch or a nice bench, and over time, if you drive like we do, that's a problem. I actually thought these seats were they're just really nice. They're as aggressive as they should be for this car.
Agreed, because this is not a performance model.
A lot of times,
not an R or anything.
I'll go back to the Prius. The Prius seats are not aggressive enough because the way you and I drive, we need some level of aggressive seat structure.
just the slightest,
just a little bit,
like a notch above park bench.
Yes, exactly.
Notch above theater seating. Just one notch.
I am pleasantly surprised by this. Because this is going to sound weird. I didn't think anybody was still making a sedan this good that was this affordable in the market.
And gives you all this stuff, all these options. I mean, beyond this is just little luxury kinds of fun little add-ons, and this is what you want and what you need. So what more do you really want out of your car to make you happy with it?
Here's the thing, you can get other good sedans. If you want to spend 40, 50 up, you can get good sedans.
Yeah.
We're under 40, loaded out.
Loaded.
And we have more space than most of the stuff that is offered that's going to be roughly 45, 50 from the quasi-luxury brands or the full luxury brands that are going to be, I mean, that's not a great sound, but it's not a CVT.
You're right. That's
I want to point that out. It's not a CVT. This is using the electric motors to move the wheels. There is no CVT involved. And so if you really punch it, it sounds a little growly and not great.
Great, but
it has a little, it
it's
feels
more
somewhere
than before.
It feels somewhere between CVT and automatic as far as how it delivers the power, but you have enough power. And also there's noise canceling going on in this car, and this is a surprisingly quiet place to be.
It's quiet. The suspension is excellent. I kept thinking about suspension and what we love about GM's MagnaRide and the ability for any car to change itself. Just doing one suspension that is good for some crisp, interesting, fun driving, just a little bit of enjoyable driving, but still great for road trips and just great around town. That's hard to do.
It is.
Just one suspension setting to rule it all. This is really good. This is an Accord.
Well, I feel like a lot of car manufacturers are leaning on the fact that they can make adjustable suspension. So as a result, they've lost the art of making one that can do all of the above. That's become harder and harder to find in cars, and this does it well. Other things you were talking about that I want to bring up again, I want to bring up these paddles, because this is your regen setting, and there's a couple things you can do. You pointed out one of them, and that is I can start pulling my left paddle right now, and I can start regenning myself down to almost a stop. I can keep clicking it, and it keeps adding regen, and eventually here, I have a truck behind me, I won't do it, but eventually here, I could step my way all the way down to a stop. What's also interesting, though, is you can use it as your personal setting. I can hit it twice, And then every time and not hit it again, every time I let off the gas, it will give you that amount of regen again.
It'll stay at that setting.
You can set your setting of how much regen you prefer. And I was changing it while I'm actually accelerating. I can just change, I can look at the gauge, change what the settings are, so that the next time I left off the gas, it gives me 2 clicks of regen instead of the 4 I had set before. What's great is if you have a certain way you like to drive and you like the car to have a certain amount of regen braking, you can set that with these paddles and it will go to it anytime you pull off the gas. Or if you suddenly want a lot more regen, you keep pulling that left paddle and it just pulls the car down. That's the first time I've seen a dual usage like that. And I'm very impressed with the fact that they have allowed me to just set my regen. That's more than your typical coast off of an automatic car. That's more regen than that, for sure. Or I could just turn it off. Or I can crank it way down, and then when I pull off the gas, it's regenning a lot.
And when you're in sport mode, well, when you're in any mode, that just offers you driver engagement. Just like any sports car where you want to deliberately use the paddles to shift and you're doing sporty driving, this offers you actually a little bit more driving engagement. Okay, maybe you're coming in a little hotter and you want to use the paddles more and use more regen. There's some fun to be had. Honda has absolutely crushed it. You put any sedan a third more than this, maybe even a half, 50% more.
Ooh, okay.
And you compare it to an Accord, and for what you're getting and for how it drives, you're going to have to really make a good case to not buy an Accord. Fully loaded, hybrid, touring, you will have to make a good case to say, well, why don't you just buy this? It's excellent in every category. That's what's so amazing. It's not like, well, it's just a handling beast and it's got all the power.
Sure.
The rest of it, it's too cramped and it doesn't look good. And not at all. Name me a category, and Honda has done well.
If you are shopping 4-seat family vehicles, you need to look at this as a replacement for looking at a CUV.
Are sedans back? Is this making the case to bring sedans
this
back?
is good, and the current Camry is also very good. I personally kind of prefer this over the Camry, even though the Camry is very good and available in lots of variants, including all-wheel drive variants. So I get why the Camry exists and can be more than this. But this has pleasantly pleased me every time I've driven it. And it has that ability to, and this is interesting, difficult line to walk for me, and that is it has that ability to fade into the background and not get noticed. But yet when I want a car to be good, it doesn't embarrass itself. I'm not expecting it to be a sports car.
Of course.
But plenty of cars that can fade into the background and be just a commute appliance, but work very well, lots of packages, lots of pockets, lots of places to put stuff, good storage. But yet if I push it all, I'm like, oh, that's just that. I'm disappointed.
Dismal.
Seriously. This doesn't disappoint me. It operates at a level performance-wise that is enough for me to be satisfied with knowing what I'm driving. I'm like, okay, that's perfectly good for an Accord. But the rest of the time, it does everything so well, better than most CUVs, and can also just fade into the background and just be nice. Heated and cooled seats, everything's easy, all the Apple CarPlay and the Google and everything. It's just,
Guess I need to buy a third Accord. I never saw that coming.
You also really don't need a sedan in your life.
I don't.
But apparently, you're buying an Accord because
getting an Accord now.
It's just good.
Hey, you're getting an Accord.
Oh, hey, look, brother.